Welcome back, crafters. It's Nicole, and I have another great sketch for you to kickstart your creativity. This time, I'll be applying the spotlight technique in two different ways to show you how a few different tweaks can give you a totally different look. Welcome to Sketch Starters with Nicole. As usual, we'll take a look at our sketch first, and you can see that there's these three overlapping circles. This could really be anything, but I decided to take it literally. I'm going to create three overlapping circles in two different ways using the spotlight technique to really help the sentiment shine. For both projects, I'll be using Whimsical Herringbone, the Halftone Circles Nesting Dies, and three inks, Desert Night, Hazelnut, and Rouge. I decided to do this first spotlight by doing some overlapping ink blended circles. I've created a template using the halftone circle dies to create three different sizes of circle templates here. And I'm going to use my inks and my small blending tools to create the circles. So this works best if you work from lightest to dark. I'm starting here with the hazelnut, and I'll go ahead and create a circle using this mask until I get it to the depth of color that I would like. Then I'm going to move into the rouge here. So I flip over my template to the next smallest circle and secure that down. And I'll use rouge again with another small blending tool to create the circle. You can see here that it's overlapping on the yellow, and that's going to give me a little bit of an orangey yellow look where they overlap. For the third circle, I'll move down yet another size, and I'll do this in the darkest shade, which is Desert Night. Now this color happens to be kind of dark, so I start by blending off the edge to make sure that I don't get too much color onto my finished panel. This card is going to come together really quick, so I'm almost actually done. You can see that I've got some gorgeous colors overlapping on my three circles here. So now I need to add in my sentiment. From the Whimsical Herringbone, I picked out the sentiment that I wanted to use, and I'm going to ink that up in Obsidian Black. Now, once I get this down, technically I could keep this card as finished. I don't need to add anything additional to it, but I really wanted to add in that herringbone pattern. Now, you may notice that the herringbone pattern isn't tall enough to fit the 5.5 inches tall, so I had to turn it the other way, but it's going to look absolutely gorgeous. So in order to make the sentiment readable, I'm using some masking paper here to mask off the sentiment that I've already stamped. What I want to do is make sure that both of these pieces are nice and level and that there's an even space between the two before I stamp this background. Because the background fits the entire background, I can't use my magnet, so I make sure that my paper is really up in the corner of my MISTI. That way, if I do have to restamp for some reason, I know it just needs to go right back into the corner. But I'm hoping that I have enough of my obsidian ink on the stamp that I don't have to stamp it again. And I think this looks lovely. So I'm just going to peel off my masks here, and you're going to see how this card looks really awesome. And that's all there is to it. Are you enjoying this video? Then how about giving it a thumbs up? I'd really appreciate it. For the second card, I'm going to do something very similar, except I'm going to die cut the circles with the sentiments and then overlap them together. In order to do this, I'm going to do some embossing in white. So I have three colors of cardstock here, mimicking the ink colors that I used previously. And I'm going to go ahead and add the sentiment onto all three of them with the white embossing powder. So you can see I've got plenty of anti-static powder on here to keep any strays from showing up on my cardstock. And I just go through and stamp and emboss all three pieces. Now that I've got those done, I go ahead and put that mask onto one of the pieces, and I have it stuck onto my mat in my MISTI. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing again. Here I'm going to emboss in white. So I've got that herringbone pattern. It's going to go over that entire sheet, and then I can go ahead and emboss it in white. This time you can see that I chose to make sure that it was going to stick in my MISTI by using a little double-sided piece of temporary tape. And now I've got my piece ready to go for embossing, and I can heat this one up, and I'll do the same thing with the other two pieces. The last thing that I need to do for this card as far as stamping is create the background. And I'm going to do this with the herringbone pattern in black. So I have a piece of white cardstock in my MISTI, and I'm going to stamp that same herringbone pattern in obsidian black, and this will be ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down and add it onto my card base so it's ready to go for the next steps. All right, so I have everything ready to go. I've got my background piece glued to my card base, and I have all 3 of my colored pieces ready to go, die cut using the halftone circles, the same size that I used for the first card. So I just need to pop these 3 out, and I'll work on assembling this finished card. So what I'm doing here is a kind of a triple spotlight technique, if you will, where I am matching up the stamping on each of these pieces to make it one cohesive piece. So after I've got my peach piece in place, I'm figuring out here where the blue one is going to go. And I want to make sure, especially that little I in the word being, that it really shows up. Otherwise, you end up having a misspelled word when you really didn't intend to. So now that I have those 3 pieces temporarily together, I can go ahead and add a little bit of glue on the back. And that's going to get those nice and stuck together. I'm going to leave that tape in place just so that nothing slips. And I'm going to add on some double-sided adhesive strips to pop this up off the page. And then finally, I'll need to go ahead and align this piece with the background. And it really does fit right in place. You just have to remember which row that you were stamping off of to begin with. And once I did, I was able to just pop that right down. And then I can go ahead and remove my pieces of temporary tape, and this card will be done as well. So there we have it, 2 really cool takes on a spotlight technique. Did you prefer the 1-layer ink blended design or the triple die cut embossed design? Let me know in a comment below. And when you decide to create one of these great projects, don't forget to tag me at Pixel Maven's Retreat on social media. On your way out, if you love this video, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel for more crafty goodness. I'll be back soon with more fun sketches and techniques, but until then, happy crafting.
Hello crafters, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thanks for watching!